Hi everybody! First of all, let me welcome you to the Physiomed Peaks team. We're very happy to have you as part of our team and glad also that you'll take the next little while just to go through this orientation video. I think there's so much information to share with you. I don't know where to start. However, do know that this video will be available for you to review when you need it, and as always our support office is there to help you. If you have any questions, you can always give us a call or send us an email. Let's start by looking at the Policy and Procedure Manual. And this manual is a little bit different. As you may or may not know, we do provide service in 3 different settings in long-term care. We provide service in nursing homes, in retirement homes, and in community homes, such as seniors apartment buildings and independent or assisted living homes. So the Policy and Procedure Manuals are a little bit different for the 3 different settings. And let me start by showing you the Policy and Procedure Manual for the community setting. So if you're working in a community setting, this manual is the one manual that you will be referring to. And it's simply called the Policies and Procedures Team Manual. So it's one binder. And in here you will find everything that you need. At the very front you have the table of contents. It goes through general information, team handbook, so all of the mandatory things that we have to talk to you about in terms of sexual harassment, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, things like that. That will be in sections 1 and 2. Then we have a section on record keeping. We have a section on Coligo, which if you don't know yet is our software. We have a section on marketing, WSIB. We have then the forms that you'll need in your community setting. We talk a little bit about ADP, which is the Assistive Devices Program, and that's a program that is used to help residents get walkers and wheelchairs and mobility aids. Then we have a section on programs, which is all of our, exercise programs, the Tai Chi, the therapeutic dance, and things like that, the ROM dance that you have in your little DVD kit and CDs. Then we have some policies and procedures for some of our clinical programs, and at the end we have a section on modalities. So this community manual is a mix of both clinical and administrative procedures. In nursing and retirement homes we split it up into 2 binders. Again, we talk about the same things in the binders. However, we split it into 2. So if you're working in a nursing or retirement home, you will have 2 separate binders, one being the administrative policies and procedures, and that'll be the first parts talking about those Ministry of Labor type policies that we have to have in there about drug abuse and alcohol abuse and things like that, record keeping, Coligo, marketing, and WSIB. And in the Clinical Policies and Procedures Team Manual, we have a copy of the forms for your setting. So whether it be retirement home or nursing home, you'll have a different set of forms because the forms are a little bit different in each of the settings. Then we have a section on ADP. We have a section on the programs, as I mentioned, the different programs. It's a very big section, and it gives you pictures of the Tai Chi video, the one that shows the movements with the lady being filmed at the river here in Hearst, and the 2 girls in leotard, the dance students, so it shows you bit by bit pictures of those different videos. Then you have a section on our policies and procedures and modalities, and the rest is empty. So again, in nursing and retirement homes you have 2 separate binders, and in community settings you have just the 1 binder. So I thought one way to start would be actually to introduce myself to you, since I forgot to do that in the first part of the video. My name is Amanda Delcourt, and I am a physiotherapist. I'm co-owner of Physiomed Peaks, and I will be one of your contact people for any questions that you have about anything that we're going through in this video, whether it be about forms or procedures, anything clinical, exercise programs, resident questions or queries, things that the home are asking you to do that you're not sure of, anything at all. You can contact myself or contact support office or Dr. Pierre Delcourt, my husband, who's also one of your contact people. And I believe that you do have that information already. If you don't, then please send an email to our support office and ask them for that information. What I thought we would start with first is actually just taking a binder, the two binders. You have a PT and a PTA binder, and in these binders you have all of the forms that you need to document on or to use in order to keep track of what you need to do in your day. So just to give you an idea, for example, this is a PT evaluation binder, and on the spine of the binder you'll see that it does say PT evaluation binder. On the front of the binder you will see that it either says nursing home or retirement home, or community home. And that is because each of the PT and PTA binders do have different forms, slightly different forms in each of the three binders. So we have identified the binder based on the setting that you're working in. So if you are working in a nursing home, you should have the binder that says nursing home on the front. If you're working in a community setting, you should have the binder that says community home on the front. If you're working in a retirement home, obviously, the one with retirement home on the front. Very good. And so what we'll be doing is I will start by reviewing the forms that are going to be found. We'll start and finish. There are a lot of forms, I do admit. However, I've found that over the past years, forms tend to help keep myself organized. I like things, for those of you that have met me, I'm a little bit OCD, type A, and I really like to have forms where I can check things off and circle things and keep things in order to help keep myself organized and my assistant. And although it does seem to be a lot of forms, it's very overwhelming perhaps at the beginning. You'll find that with time you'll be thankful to have all of these forms to help keep everything organized and keep things in order. So I thought that the best thing to do would to just be to go over the forms, and as we're going over the forms it'll help to review some of the policies and the different procedures that we use that set us apart from other companies. And so let's begin. So the first form that you're going to see in both PT and PTA binders, in all three settings, nursing home, community home, and retirement home, is a glossary of terms. This glossary of terms will be placed in a plastic sheet so that it stays nice, and this is so that any of the short forms that we're using when we're documenting are available on this glossary of terms, so when nursing or any other discipline goes to actually look at the notes, they'll know what our short forms mean. If there are short forms that your team is using in the home that are not on this glossary, please feel free to add them in pen or in pencil, and that way people will know what your short forms mean. So as I said, this is in the PT binder, the PT evaluation binder, and it's also in the PTA treatment binder at the very front. You have the glossary of terms in the plastic sheet, whether it be in a nursing home or retirement home or a community home. Of course, before treatment can begin, we do need to have a referral for physiotherapy. So if you're working in a community home, this is what your referral looks like. It is a Physiomed Peaks in-home physiotherapy / massage referral. And on this form, we do have massage as well, just because if there are enough residents interested in massage therapy and there's a local massage therapist, we can work with the massage therapist to bring them into the home and allow that service to be provided to residents as well. However, for now we're just going to talk about the physiotherapy side. So the MD would need to check off in-home physiotherapy, write their name and their billing number as well. The reason we need their billing number is because we have to tell the Ministry of Health who it is that referred the resident for physiotherapy, because we do, to be able to bill and provide service in home and have it covered by OHIP, we do need a referral. And so proof of having that referral is actually the fact that we have the billing number that we enter into Coligo. I do suggest that we have this referral in place and signed before an assessment takes place with the resident. There have been cases where we've allowed the resident to be assessed first and then gotten the referral after, but it takes so much longer because the resident has no reason to, get that referral signed as much because they've already had their assessment and they've even sometimes begun treatment. So we are putting our foot down for this and ask that the referral be in place before the assessment takes place, just so that we're following ministry guidelines for the OHIP funded service. The resident may take the referral with them to their doctor's appointment to get signed, or in some cases we may be able to fax the referral to the doctor. It depends on the doctor. Some will sign the referral and fax it back. Others absolutely want to see the resident and have an appointment with them to assess them, and then we'll sign the referral in person and the resident can bring it back to you. In either case, whether the resident brings it to the doctor or we fax it to the doctor, I do suggest that you also send along this letter. And this letter basically says, "Dear Doctor, it is with great pleasure that we share with," then you would write the name of the community home, whether it be the address, 123 Front Street, or Cedar Manor if the actual apartment building has a name. So it is with great pleasure that we share with Cedar Manor our ability to serve seniors, blah, blah, blah. This explains to the doctor what the physio treatments are and why we're asking them for a referral. And so that's the procedure for the referrals in a community setting or a community home. And the physiotherapy initial assessment form. This form this is the front side. And the back side. And this form is essentially the same in nursing homes, retirement homes, and community homes. The only difference is in community homes it says in-home physiotherapy initial assessment, and the part at the bottom here in the community home form, for nursing homes and retirement homes we have a section on bed mobility and transfers. That is not there for community. It just says other. Those aren't things that we necessarily need to comment on in community settings because residents are living on their own, so they should be independent with bed mobility and transfers for sure. So apart from that, the forms are the same. At the top of the form we have a spot for the history, and there are also squares there, so if you can check off regularly, please refer to resident chart for more details on history and what they're referred for. After I had my college audit, it was obvious that the college also wants to see what they're being referred for. So we're not just writing their history, but if the resident is being referred for frequent falls or an admission baseline assessment, whatever it might be, just to note that in there. There's also a spot for allergies, so if they have allergies to meds or something else. A little comment on their hearing and their vision. Then there's medication and x-ray results, so check off, please refer to resident chart for more details. There's also a spot for information on the resident's POA, their power of attorney. Then there's the subjective spot where you can enter in what the resident's complaints are, and there's also a spot for their pain scale so that we have that objective measure. Going on down, we have observations, so you can comment on their swelling, their skin condition, also what their cognition appears to be like. Going on to musculoskeletal, you can comment on their peripheral and spinal range of motion and strength, and it's indicated that strength is measured out of 5, so you can fill that in there. There's a spot down, just an open spot for spinal, so it leaves it open if you want to check lumbar, thoracic, cervical, one or the other, whatever you feel is appropriate for that resident based on their history. Then there's sensation. If you're doing sensation testing on them, you may not assess it on their initial assessment, at which point you can just circle NA for not assessed or not applicable. Then there's the spot for the cardiopulmonary system, so when you auscultate the resident, you can just fill that out. I've tried to make it so easy with circles. I find I was always rewriting the same thing. I hate repetitions, so this is to help make the filling out of their form a little bit faster.